An Excel workbook can either be book something like book 1, or if you open a new workbook, you can easily open a new one if you have one opened already by pressing Ctrl N on your keyboard. So with Ctrl N on my keyboard now, you can see that I now have book 2. If I do that again, I'm going to have book 3. So an Excel workbook can either be book something like 1, 2, or 3, or it could be a name that you have saved. So before you save any file, if you're working from a fresh blank file, it will have book blah 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 as its name until you save your file, right? Now, saving an Excel workbook is really easy and straightforward. All you have to do is click on File, and then you can select Save As, right? That's because you are saving your workbook from the default book something to something, right? So if you're saving for the first time, you have to use Save As. Thereafter, you can start using Save, okay? So when you click Save As, this will basically allow you to browse to a location where you want to have your files saved, right? So I will just basically put this on my desktop, and I'm going to call this maybe class 1. Then I can click Save. Okay, now it's properly saved, and if you check, you see that the file is now called class 1. Okay, now subsequently, as you continue to work on your Excel file, you will need to constantly save the file so that if anything basically goes wrong, you can easily continue from where you have stopped. Okay, now you have a couple of options for that continuous saving activity. You can basically come right here to the top of your Excel, and you're going to see a disk icon. Now that disk icon, once you click on the disk icon, is going to save the latest version of work you have within that Excel workbook, right? Now, if you are going to be more efficient, then it makes more sense for you to just use Ctrl S on your keyboard to constantly save your work. Trust me, a whole lot can go wrong if you don't save your work constantly, right? Now, once you have your file saved, I'm going to close this file and I'm going to launch the file again. So here I am on my desktop, and you can see that workbook saved called class 1. So I can relaunch the workbook. Obviously, it's blank. There's nothing inside. So now I've launched the workbook once again, right? Easy and straightforward. I'm going to make one more adjustment to this, right? It's possible for you to have your workbook passworded, right? So in the event where you have something that probably it's confidential, and you only need a handful of people, or maybe only yourself, that knows the password to that file to be able to open it, right? So even if I have the file and I don't know the password, there's no way I will be able to launch that file, right? So to do that, you want to go back to File, and you want to go back to Save As. You want to browse. Okay, now just before you save the file, if you check in your Save As dialog box, you are going to see that just to the left hand side of the Save button, there is a Tools drop down there. So if you click on that Tools drop down, you go to General Options, and then you can provide a password to open, right? So I'm just going to call this password. I'm just going to use a very simple password called simple. Okay, and if you like, you could also select another password required for the file to be modified, but I won't bother about that right now. Now, before I proceed, please, I need to sound this simple warning. Whatever password you are using here, make sure it is something that you can remember, because right here, there is no way for you to do that remember password or reset password or something like that. You're going to need to be some sort of hacker for you to be able to recover a password from a passworded Excel file that have been forgotten. Okay, so let me remember my password is simple. So if I click OK now, then I have to type that again. Simple is what I'm using, and I'm going to click OK again. Then I can click Save, right? Because the file is already saved, I want to select yes to replace it. Now, if I close this file and I try to launch again, watch what I'm going to have to provide. Now I want to launch the file again. And then I need to provide the password to get the file opened, right? So in case this was a previous book 2, this is the class 1 that I want to open now. Without typing in the word simple as my password and clicking OK, I can have that workbook opened.